Hello, everybody. This is Alan Fine. I'm here today with Jacqueline Leibel-Cote, the president of Collette, and we are going to talk about what it's like to run a tour company at a time when, you got to rethink everything and restart. And we'll talk about all that and more on Insider Travel Report. So, Jackie, thank you for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
And it's really good to see you again. However, I get to do that. I just want to know about Collette and how is it, what's the status of it today? What's it like? How are your employees? Where do I begin?
Yeah, I know that's the $1 million question. Collette as a company, obviously, we've been around 102 years and we've weathered a lot of these storms. This is definitely like none other. Since March, it's been a roller coaster, and definitely on the early weeks, things were changing daily and weekly, and it just felt like it was never going to end. And as a business, you just have to really take a step back and think about and strategize about how do you make it through a crisis like this when people cannot travel, borders are closed, you can't go from one state to another without quarantine.
What do you do when the target's moving? Where do you aim?
Yeah, to try to map the globe. That's what we travel, is the globe. So really leveraging our boots on the ground that we have in all different destinations of what's happening, the current news from that region versus us just reading news here. You really got to pull all efforts together and all minds together to kind of figure out when we can re-enter, what does that look like? Because definitely in March, it was real doom and gloom, not necessarily from a Collette standpoint, but just from the travel standpoint. There's too many uncertainties.
How do you do that? I'm trying to imagine that. Travel stops, but our work gets more intense, and you're probably talking to everybody, as you say, with the boots on the ground and having meetings. How do you keep track of all those countries? How many countries do you go to?
Oh gosh, well over 60. So it is hard to do that, and I would say the biggest challenge is you're dealing with the crisis and trying to figure out, okay, we're going to cancel through May, we're going to cancel through June, and just sort of going with what information we have. But then we also have our existing, we're planning our 2021 year and trying to get product to market and get that all built. So there's a lot of parallels happening within the organization of dealing with the crisis, the call volume, of people just questioning. Yeah, there's so many different things. And so it really dealing with multiple years at once in the middle of a crisis and trying to still be relevant coming out the other end. But I also say, there's a silver lining, I guess, in anything, and you learn from crises like these. And not that we want to be in one, but there's definitely, it's opportunity for us to take a look at the business and really get us prepared for what do we need to organizationally look like to be even more successful coming out of this.
I can just imagine you're talking to each region saying, okay, what can we do now? Okay, what do we do later? And it's a staged rollout for each region.
Very much. And we have to depend on the airlines, and we have to, if we have people who travel, we come out of Canada, we come out of Australia, their borders are closed right now, and not likely to maybe open throughout all of this year. So the markets that we come out of, and then, what's happening in the U.S. right now with a surge and spike in cases is going to probably be a little challenging for us to get welcomed back into some of these borders.
Well, let's talk about now. So you have tours coming up. So tours are suspended till when? What's this first one that's coming up?
Yeah, so we had tours suspended through June 30th of this year. And then we have a lot of North America products. So we sort of took a step back and said, it's not really necessary for us to take these broad strokes and take everything offline when we know that there is the want for people to travel. So we actually have our first departure going out to our spotlight in South Dakota, and that's going July 3rd. Everyone paid final payments when we told them that the date was going to be operating. We have 33 people who want to go, and they're going to do it in a physical distance sort of format with 2 buses and 2 tour managers, and they're excited to get back out on the road, and we're excited.
Do you think that people are going to just be wanting to travel so much that they'll look and see what you have and just gobble it up?
I think people are going to travel in a lot of different ways, but yeah, I think if the tour product is right for them, and it's domestic and close enough to home and they feel safe. But we're also seeing the want for people to travel internationally. I mean, we're seeing our web traffic for sure in those weeks in March and early April was declined significantly, but kind of, I want to say mid-April or so, maybe late April, we started to see that curve the other way and have more web traffic, and we're seeing it definitely still heaviest in all of Europe. So people are searching Europe tour products, looking, whether it's for 21 and maybe not 20, they're looking to be aspired to get back out there and travel again.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about some numbers, like you have bookings for this year, next year, year after. How far out does it go?
Yeah, I mean, we have also Overamiga, which is really big for us, and that was supposed to be this year, with so many things came crashing down, when COVID-19 hit, but that is now going to be in 22. So yeah, we have, you can book travel through 2022, and get excited about it. But what we're seeing now from a numbers standpoint, definitely bookings from 20 to 21 were outpacing new bookings coming in. But over the last couple of weeks, we're actually seeing new bookings versus rebookings winning, and we're winning year on year over last year. So that's a really good thing. We're seeing numbers, and we're seeing that consumer confidence coming back, and they're putting deposits down, and they're looking a little bit further out.
Well, let's talk about how you handle the rebookings and the refunds. It's something COVID was not a big deal to you in terms of you're already ready for the unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, you go through these situations, but we haven't had to change any of our policies. And we are a cancel for any reason up to 24 hours prior to departure with a full cash refund, whether it's a credit back to your credit card, however form of payment. But that's been our policy for well over 30 years. And so we didn't have to put any statements out there to change anything. Obviously, there's incentive for people to move their monies into next year, but we've been financially stable. We've built a lot of equity in the business over the years. You don't want to burn through all of that equity either. But and we were too large for the CARES Act, so the payment protection. We were too big for that, and so we've really had to strategize and think about how do we exist on the other side of this. And we know that we will, but what are the tough decisions that we have to make to get us to the other end? What's the bridge we need to build?
Well, congratulations for being too big for the CARES Act and being that successful. But it's good also to know that you're financially solvent, that was never an issue. Yeah. Now, on the people that are traveling, let's talk about the demographics and also where are they thinking about travel?
Yeah, I mean, right now I think it's a little too early to see if the demographics are drastically shifting. What we're seeing is it's our travelers right now who are traveling, who are coming on, the South Dakota tour and the other North America tours that we have operating in July. I think it's still a little bit early to gauge if there's going to be a shift in what that age demographic looks like for us. But I'm sure, we're looking at that, and I think we just need a little bit more time.
And what are the hot places to travel?
You're definitely, kind of alluding to what you said earlier, people are going to want to be a little bit more closer to home. I think you're going to see definitely North America, the domestic product really surging, and it does well for us, and we have plenty of inventory, so we can really support, domestic travel for people who don't want to be on a 7 or 9 hour flight to go to Europe or wherever it may be. I don't think you're going to see a lot of activity in South America anytime soon, with the way that COVID was handled there, and just the cases. I think that you're going to see Europe it's going to come back, and if it can come back quickly, it will. And you're going to see people are looking at Italy tours. So people are not thinking, oh, Italy was all over the media. You're not people are looking at it. They're on the website. They're looking at Italy. It's a destination people love. And when they feel safe and that they can go, you're going to see people in Italy. You're going to see people in Portugal. You're going to see people really all over, but you're going to see Croatia come back. Greece. I talked to two past travelers because they traveled in January, February. And I just wanted to kind of get a sense of how they were thinking about travel, having recently traveled before all of this. And I had multiple people talk about Greece and express interest of wanting to go there. And these are avid travelers. So I think you're going to see what was trending kind of come back as well, probably a little bit faster than some other destinations.
I was going to ask you about Italy and places like that, and so you covered it. But then I thought, so the hotspots are the popular places in the United States, Florida, California, and there the COVID it fluctuates. And so that's like we're checking the weather. We're also going to check the COVID. Is that how that works?
It's going to be our short-term norm, our midterm norm, until there's something that sort of either suppresses or gets travelers and just people in general comfortable with being around other people. I mean, it's not normal to physically distance as far as everyone has from down to kids. I mean, I have 3 kids. I mean, it's tough, but for people, especially in the guided travel business, how do we manage that? People want to travel and they're going to still want to continue to do that. And what does it need to look like? That's my next question. What's it going to look like? Yeah, I mean, I think it's gonna, you go to the grocery store, there's a glass between you and the cashier. You're going to check into a hotel. There's going to be things that, people will get comfortable with, as long as we know that there are the sanitary measures with all of our suppliers and partners across the globe, from how they clean the hotel rooms daily to the bed sheets to everything. I mean, people are going to be asking questions that never would have been asked prior. So we're really doing an audit now and working with all of those partners to make sure that they are they're meeting what Collette has set as standards for our travelers and our employees, because those are our tour managers and those are our guests, and people trust, our travel professionals trust us, and they put people on our tour products. We want to make sure that we're putting our best foot forward from a health and safety standpoint. And I think most suppliers and partners they know that what they need to do. Well, I agree with you about us getting used to it. I remember, of course, at one time we didn't take our shoes off and open our bags for TSA, and then that became the norm. And so the new norm will be the new norm, whatever that will be. Yeah. So now, how is Collette transforming itself to meet the challenges of this new age? Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. I mean, what we're doing is right now it's obviously physical distancing and things like that on the motor coach. People making sure that our travelers were providing face masks. I think that is an expectation. I mean, and everyone, I think it's the new fashion trend right now. I mean, people are getting creative with how they're either making their face masks, buying their face masks. Do you have a Colette face mask? It won't be branded per se, but we do have face masks that we'll be providing, because I think it would be irresponsible of us not to. And the airlines are mandating it, and I know we're open here a little bit. Well, so they say. But we got to at least give people the option to protect themselves for what level of comfort they feel. I know here in Rhode Island and our state, things have opened up a little bit. So you can go to a restaurant, but you have to wear your face mask when you check in. You can take it off at the table. If you use the restroom, you have to put your face mask back on. I mean, is it a little odd? And, seems like, okay, is this really the world I'm living in? But it is. And at least I felt great going out to dinner again. So, I mean, I just think that it's going to be little bits of that. But we are just trying to take the right step and, making sure that our tour managers are trained, which they're already very well trained. I mean, before COVID, people get sick on tour, whether it's the flu, whether it's just they flew on the airplane and got sick on arrival. Our tour managers are very well trained on handling these sorts of situations. We have a training going on this week, actually, for some of the tour managers that are going to be guiding in the near future. And so what's the elevated expectation now? What's the new expectation? I shouldn't even say elevated, because it's now the new. What happens if someone shows signs of COVID-19 on tour? What do we do? And we also don't have it. So if a tour manager guides after that tour ends, they actually we're not booking them on another tour for at least 14 days, which would be just, should there have been anything, we don't want to spread things. So we're trying to be very, smart about the way, we manage the schedule as well. And that's hard because these tour managers have been out of work and depend on it for months. But I think that's the best, that's what we need to do for their health as well as the next group's health. Just because things are uncertain, you don't know how things are transmitted. And so just
do you
trying
have
to think
more
it all
of those?
through.
Because that was interesting. I hadn't thought about the tour guide being rotated for health reasons. Do you have any other interesting things you guys have come up with?
Well, we have, so on arrival, the travelers have to give a health declaration document to the tour manager. So it's just, that they've had no symptoms. So it's kind of, it's again, keeping everyone, especially the tour managers, but who has to manage the group, healthy and safe. So, those are some of the things. I would think that that's probably an important one from how, because you don't really think about that, if that guide can guide 2 days later, I mean, they would want to do that, especially coming out of this. But from a health and safety standpoint, that's hopefully a short term. And hopefully, we want to make sure that we keep our great guides out there with our passengers because,
it took a lot to find them.
Yeah, it took a lot to find them. And the number one thing any traveler will say is how amazing and important the tour manager is. So they really do make the experience. But we got to keep them all safe. So that's what we're doing right now. And hopefully that changes, as we move into 21. But again, we'll see how things go.
Okay. So now let's shift our focus to the travel advisor. What are you recommending the travel advisors do now to familiarize themselves and to help sell your products? What should they be saying to their clients?
People have the urge to travel and get out there. Where they travel might change. But I think that as travel advisors and anyone in the travel industry, one thing that we really want to continue to do is promote travel. And that is going to be international. I mean, we need to support all of these businesses that survive this and that we can go to their countries, and we want people to come to ours. We need to get travel industry back globally. And that is our job. And I think doing it obviously with health and safety in mind, but as things open up, it's our job, I think, as travel professionals to promote travel all over the globe.
Do you have any advice for the new travel advisor that's just getting in and to learn more about Collette?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, look, there's a lot of options out there for consumers and travelers for the type of travel they want. I think one of the things that we've heard most from our partners across the globe is how easy it was to work with us. And that, I think most of that was due to transparency, our waiver, and not having to, it's tough for a travel professional to be stuck in the middle sometimes, and a tour operator saying, sorry, we're not going to refund you, or we're going to refund you, but it's not going to be for 2 years. You can't, that's people's money, and you have to respect that. Our goal is to try to encourage just a movement into next year. But if people really want their money back and want to spend it later, they're most likely going to come back to that travel professional that put them they didn't have to go through struggle to get their money back.
So what a new travel agent will learn, and what a repeat travel advisor who works with you knows, is that you're an advocate and that they're not alone. And at this time, it's good to have an army.
Yeah, and when there's so much uncertainty in the world, why are we stressing any consumer out and holding what is rightfully theirs? I mean, I think that's why, from a company standpoint, we don't have any debt. We aren't buying buses and airplanes and hotels, and that's, so know who you're working with also, and that we can give the money back because we're not spending it until those travelers travel, and that's what allows us.
Also, how much money did you refund?
Oh, gosh, I don't even actually have the number. I can tell you after 9/11, which we were very, much different business then. But after 9/11, we refunded over $33 million. It's a lot more than that this time. And, that's tough. But, and we were actually written up in New York Times after 9/11 for that. But those are that's where.
But that's how you run the business.
That's how you win the business. And you got consumer confidence. It's not just about with Collette. But if that agent, if it's easy for them to be able to make their customer and traveler happy, we want to be partnered together to do that. We don't want to be in these situations too often too, so I should preface that. But it shouldn't be a hassle, especially in a crisis. I think how anyone handles a crisis says a lot about them.
Let's wrap this up with what is it that you'd want? We're going out to, the number keeps going up, over 100,000 travel advisors every morning. What would you like them to know at this time? I
would say, travel is going to come back. These are uncertain times, and, people are going to want to get back out there. And we're seeing that in the data and the numbers that we're looking at. And the confidence that they have in the travel professional and in you is so critical. And to be able to partner together and take people across the globe and get people back out there to create memories and moments, I think that, and that's the thing with what we do is we connect people. That's what we do. So moving past this social distancing and really joining people again is going to be critical for the future.
Well, Jackie, thank you for talking to us, and good luck with all the North American tours that are going to kick off right away.
Thanks, Alan. It was great seeing you.
All right, and then let's catch up. Maybe things are changing so rapidly. In a month or so, let's talk again. Maybe
that would be great.
All right, say hi to everybody there. Say hi to your dad.
I
will. Say hi to your cousin.
I will. Yeah, Diana, I will. Thank you.
And this is Alan Fine for Insider Travel Report.